Hey guys, this is Detroit. Welcome back to Axis and Allies. The Garrison here, coming to you from the bunker in Rochelle Park, New Jersey. All right, so we have passed actually, we are at the midway point of round four. It is England's turn. The UK now goes under the command of our very good friend and ally, Corporal 24. Man, let me tell you, it's been such a heartbreaking and tough decision to make whether or not me as the United States should refocus and change my strategy from that of a Pacific strategy to an Atlantic strategy where I come to the rescue and help my good ally, Corporal 24, as the UK player. It was a tough decision to make, but it was one that had to be made, and that was that I would stay the course and decide or choose not to help out my ally. Okay, you may ask why. Well, my strategy from the get-go had been geared to basically focus on Japan first. Okay, now for me to halfway through the game or through the war to change that strategy from a Pacific to Atlantic strategy would mean that I would have to just basically take the foot off the pedal and basically allow Japan to get away. Right now, Japan is under a lot of pressure. Japan's wings have been clipped. Japan really can't do anything. Japan can't really go for Calcutta. Japan can't take the Philippines. Japan is not a threatening Anzac, Australia, New Zealand. Okay, Japan is not expanding. Japan is very limited at this point in time. Japan doesn't even control China in its round four. Okay, because even though the Chinese have not done that well, the Chinese are still in the game. Okay, so and Japan lacks the resources to secure China for at least an additional 2 rounds. Okay, so for the U.S. now to reassess and refocus from a Pacific to an Atlantic, it would undo all that hard work. Okay, Japan right now has to defend itself from a very powerful U.S. presence in the Pacific. And after initially considering going for Europe, we decided, after consulting with our allies, in particular Corporal 24, we decided that the way to go will be to maintain the pressure on Japan, even though the UK may very well fall. But remember, folks, we're playing for points here. It's a victory point driven system that we are playing here, that we have to play for 8 rounds. Okay, in those 8 rounds, if the Axis fail to achieve those, 12-point minimum, and right now they have 8, they have 12, 4 more to go to achieve those 12. We in essence have won the game. So we don't have to conquer the Axis, we just have to check them. Okay, so that's the idea here, guys. And yeah, man, I feel for the UK. I feel for my ally, but I think he knows where we're coming from. And it was actually he saw some hesitation in me, and he agreed that my hesitation. I'm talking about Corporal 24. I think that he realized that the place to be was definitely in the Pacific. Anyway, guys, that's my 2 cents. During my next commentary and answer video, I will further go into this subject. Okay, but for now, let's go with Corporal 24. The UK goes, guys. I hope you enjoy this episode as always. Sit tight. We'll be back shortly. All right, so this is the current situation for the UK throughout the world. But let's start here first in the Asian continent, where the British forces are basically holding out in India. Okay, the Japanese have pushed the Japanese back all the way to Calcutta, but the Japanese, in all honesty, are not seriously threatening Calcutta at this point in time. If anything, the UK actually can go on the offense, believe it or not. Okay, definitely the Middle East is in no immediate danger. Okay, unfortunately for the UK, those minor industrial complexes that were so that were built there and that were so many pieces, so many lives were lost. Unfortunately, are not producing at this moment in time, and that's because the UK is fighting for its life in Europe. Basically, the UK has to survive, and the Germans are poised for a naval invasion supported by a very, very powerful German Air Force. Question that we have, can the UK survive? Anyways, let's go with our battles. The UK will perform, okay, a limited ground attack. Okay, I believe it's 12, total of 13 infantry, 2 artillery, and 1 fighter attacking 7 German infantry. The idea is not to take Scotland. The idea is to strafe and take out as many German infantry that are in Scotland. This way, when they do attack, there will be less attacking Germans. That's the idea. The second battle of the day is the battle for Burma. The British are attacking with 2 infantry divisions, 1 artillery, and the Japanese are defending with 2 infantry divisions in Burma. Okay, so these are the 2 battles that the British are attacking with. Okay, oh, and I'm forgetting, this bomber does deploy. So it moves at 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. It has a movement of 1 left in its gas gauge. Okay, so it's actually a bomber, 2 infantry, and 1 artillery division attacking. Okay, that's those 2 Japanese infantry divisions. All right, and these are the only 2 battles that are being fought by the British today. By the way, during the last turn where the U.S. went, I was in such a rush, guys. I was in a rush out with the family. I needed to do a few things that I totally forgot to make my moves with the Chinese. So Corporal 24 was nice enough where he made my moves with the Chinese. And what he did was he didn't go on the attack. It's a good thing he didn't, because I would have probably done the same thing that he did. All he did was that he consolidated in Shaanxi, okay, right here, okay. He had 6 infantry in Jiangsu. He moved them south to Shaanxi, and with the 6 IPCs that he did have, he purchased 2 infantry that he placed here. So the Chinese now have 8 infantry divisions in Shaanxi. Okay, so that's where we're at with the Chinese. And Corporal 24, thank you for helping me out there. Okay, I totally forgot to do that. I was in such a rush yesterday. Anyways, we'll be back shortly with the results of the combats that were declared by Corporal 24. We'll be back shortly. All right, let's go over the order of battle. But I just realized that I never mentioned what the UK's purchases were. All right, so the UK is buying off 25 points worth of damage, or IPCs worth of damage, from the industrial complex in London. Okay, so we're going to remove 25 points worth. Let me see, that's okay, so I believe that's the totality of the damage, right? So 25. All right, so then the UK will also be purchasing 7 infantry divisions and 1 artillery division that will be placed in the industrial complex in the UK. All right, so what were the battles? The results of the order of battle here. Okay, the British were successful. They actually were able to knock out 5 of these 7 infantry divisions, German infantry divisions, defending Scotland. So the Germans only have 2 remaining. The British themselves lost 3. All right, 3 infantry. So that's a net gain of 2 that, may make a difference in the expected invasion of England. All right, so that's coming round 5, or at least we suspect that it's coming. All right, so in Burma, the British in their attack lost 1 infantry. The Japanese defending army lost 2 infantry divisions. So yes, the UK was able to regain its territory in Southern Asia. All right, so Burma. Okay, as far as non-combat movements, well, I'm going to try to review as best as I can. The 2 naval transports in Sea Zone 79 moved over to Sea Zone 80. Okay, the British consolidated a good number of their forces that were spread out in Persia. There was 1 infantry in West Persia, some units in Persia, a couple of other units in between Eastern Persia and Persia. Okay, were transferred over or moved over to India. Okay, so that's why in India now you have 6 infantry, regular infantry divisions, 1 mechanized, 3 artillery, and 1 bomber. So, and of course, let's not forget the AAA there defending. Okay, so right now as is, the British look actually pretty good in Calcutta. Okay, same thing happened in Egypt. The British brought over 1 artillery that was in Anglo-Egyptian Sudan. Also, let's mention that Corporal consolidated in Iraq by bringing over 2 mechanized infantry that were in Persia. And he now has a small army there in Iraq, just in case VK Cowboy and his Italians decide to make amphibious landings in the Middle East. All right, so from Brazil, the English brought over 2 Royal Air Force fighters, and that are now parked in or based in Morocco, along with the French fighter there. Okay. All right, and that's it. The remaining, actually, these 2 naval units were just left in Sea Zone 106. Okay, they decided just to leave them there and not do anything with them. All right, so then his newly placed units will be placed in England itself, along with the artillery. So that's a total of 7 infantry and 1 artillery piece that were added on to the English army defending London. All right, so now it's the end of Corporal's turn with the UK. Now it is VK Cowboys and his Italians. Italy has definitely been a thorn on the UK side, and Italy is actually collecting a decent amount of IPC income. Let's see what VK Cowboy, who's always coming up with interesting moves, does. And I would say that we have crossed the halfway point of round 4. So this game is close now to being halfway completed. Let's remember, guys, that this game consists of 8 rounds. 8 rounds of which the Axis have to accumulate by the end of round 8 at least 12 victory points. As of now, they only have 8. So they have an additional 4 more victory points to accumulate in order to win the game. All right, guys, that's it. I hope you enjoyed this episode of the YouTube Wars. It is Italy's turn next. And as always, don't forget to bunker down and play.